track it. There's different ways you can do that. It's really more of the advanced stuff. And then social settings, again, more advanced stuff, and it says what it does about tracking people who go to their YouTube or Facebook. You don't have to worry about that right now. So I'm going to go back. That's all done at the property level. And then at the profile level, what is the profile? It gets a different ID number because it's a profile, not a website. Profiles are just ways to look at websites. And the basic one has everything. If you make filters and make different versions of them, or make backups, which maybe you want to do, you make a backup profile, you're going to get a different number, but it's still pointed at the same website. So a good idea, before you start messing around, make a backup profile. So all you do is come down here and hit copy this profile, and you made a backup profile. Then you mess around with the copy, and you try different things. You add your friend to it, you put filters on it, you do the different things. And you're not touching your website, you're just touching the way, the lens at looking at the data. And so if you make a big mistake like filter out all your tablet traffic, oh shoot, now historically I lost all my tablet traffic for 2 months because I made a big mistake. Well, you only did it to your backup profile. Your other profile is still intact with all the data. So backup profiles, play with that, really important. Everyone got that one? Backup profiles. Do that. Even if you make a backup and you're messing around with it and you want to try something else, just make another backup profile. That's fine. You just copy whichever profile you want to use as your origination. It's like source code management. You really want to be careful here. You can't historically call up Google and say, give me all my traffic that I filtered out. They won't do that for you. This is a free product. Don't delete your main profile. I don't know if you can. You never click that button. But if you have one profile, probably don't delete it. Not a good idea. Site search, I mean there's different things in here. Site search is if you have search on your own website and you want to track the searches within it, you can track that. Again, that's going to be a more advanced topic because there's using Google search or other searches and passing those searches into Google to track. You can set if you're an e-commerce site or not. If you are, different features might appear, what dollar amounts you want to use, or currency. Certain URLs might be bad. That you just want like, don't use that URL, exclude it when I see it, it's just a duplicate URL of something else, or maybe it's my own internal tracking, and just ignore it. You can put it in here. If it's legacy links that are coming from somewhere else and you don't want to mess up the way you've organized your traffic, you can exclude the URL part of it. Probably not going to be doing that. Time zone, so if you're East Coast or something like that, you can change the time zone. Make sure that when you're talking to people, if you have a different profile, if the person's somewhere else, that you refer to the same time zone. Because you might be looking at the website of a client of yours who's on the East Coast, and they're all messed up thinking, it says 100,000, and you're like, no, it says 130,000. And it's because if they set up a different profile, and you're looking at a different profile, and theirs is East Coast time, and yours is West Coast time, and your profiles are on different time zones, that's what's going to happen. So make sure you pay attention to that. One of these small things that you do in the beginning when you create a profile. So you might give your client a profile view, give them log into it, and then just put certain things on it, like change the time zone for them, or give them a certain filter that makes it easier, or create dashboards for them. We'll get into that to make it easy for them. So I'm going to go back now. User management, pretty easy stuff. Goals, I'll get to that, and filters. Goals are kind of part of this thing that Eric was talking about earlier, where you want them to achieve something, and you get a certain number of goals. But I'm going to jump out of this, now give you a little flavor of this. We go back to the reporting. So up here we click on reporting, and I'm back here, and now we can say, well, let's figure out where these people are coming from. What are they doing? What page views or what pages are seen the most? What kind of devices are they using to visit this website? At what time of day do people visit the website? So there's different things like that that might, for your different goals, be important to you. So if you're a cinematographer and everyone's visiting from the East Coast, those people are worthless to you. You're not doing marketing on the West Coast property. You're not going to fly East Coast to do a job. It's just going to be too expensive. You want them out here. So what search terms can I put on my site to get more West Coast traffic? Or if you're time of day might be important for certain businesses that you want. You're doing sports scores and everyone's looking at your site really early in the morning. So you got a lot of traffic there. Well, what can you do to get people to come into your website later in the afternoon after the sports scores? You know, they read their morning scores, now what? So, hey, I need to boost my mid-afternoon traffic, so time might be important. So all of these kinds of things you can do from here. I'm going to sit just for a second. So let's go down this list here. Language. It's pretty obvious it's going to be English, right? Boom, English. But what kind of English? Great Britain or US? There's a couple Dutch people. Deutsch people. Looking here. C. What language is C? Those are programmers. No, I don't know. KO are the boxers, right? So it's kind of important to know, you know, the language that people are looking at your website in, because if you're designing it for people to speak Spanish and everyone's using ENUS browser, then it just that you're not maybe hitting a native Spanish-speaking audience because they're looking at it with US browsers and English-speaking browsers. So another thing is, well, where are they coming from? So maybe the language tells me something, and you can see all the data there. But where are they coming from? So they're coming from the US, and Russia, Germany. So where's that Korean coming from that was speaking KO? Maybe the Korean's in China, right? We don't know. The US, Great Britain's not here, but that was up there. So this is pretty important, and you can always drill down. Google's really good about mapping and hovers. So you can drill down into the United States, and then see the states, and then see the metros and the cities and that kind of thing. So if you want, you can make filters for this, or advanced segmentation, and we'll get to that later, so that you don't have to manually do this every single time. So you save a couple of different ways. We're going to look at how much visits. Oh, we're already on visits. How many page views? Sorry, I'm just going to type page. How many page views per visit are we getting from different parts of the country? So this is not about the volume. This is just about the intensity level of your audience. So people over here really like SCV Startup, but it might just be one person. You can't tell, right? So you need those two different metrics, like how many visits and how much page depth. So it could be 100 people doing 8 pages, or it could be one person doing 8 pages as an average. So it's important to know both those kinds of things. So out here, people are seeing 4.44 pages. So that's a pretty good depth level, right? 4 and something pages. They're sticking around. That's great. And then you can see the charts down here. And there's lots of really cool charting. You can do percentages down here. Mousing over, changing this. Page views per visit. Really neat, fun stuff. Pivot tables, all this good stuff. So now I like this report, and I want to create it as a shortcut. So it should be somewhere over here. It's hard to read it. Shortcut. I'll make it go. It's still hard to read. But trust me, right there it says shortcut. You see it? Mm-hmm. So I hit shortcut, and it's like, okay, we're going to put this on your home so you don't have to do all this clicking to get to this page. And I'm going to do this, but I don't want to call it location. It's like, people who love me. Where are people who love me, right? So I put that shortcut down. So if I go to my home, I come to my website. Stalker locator, there we go. So if I go to shortcuts, where are people who love me? I click that, and it does it all for me. So it's pages per visit in my map. So that's something that'll save you a lot of time.
Yeah.
I could also add it to my dashboard. Which dashboard? My dashboard. And then different ways to add it, a table or a geomap. Well, this looks better as a map, so I'm going to add it as a map. So now, again, if I was to close these things and pretend like I came to my site, I'd normally log in here, and it would be like, I'd be on this right here, right? And I go, oh, you know what? I want to go to my dashboard. So now, pages per visit by region is on my dashboard. And so as soon as I log in, if I want to go to my dashboard, it has all these really cool pieces of information, and I put them on my dashboard so I don't have to go clicking around. I don't have to look at one report after another report after another report. I just put them all here, and I go, cool, I know everything that's going on in my business. In 30 seconds, I can go have lunch now. And then I can say, by the way, I want to make a PDF of it so I can snapshot it for future reference. So I make this PDF, download it, and drag it up here. And PDFs are also great to send to clients, or oops, I think I just wiped it out. It's opening. Oh yeah, sometimes it does great formatting, and it's down here. Oh, there. No, this one works. So this is a PDF that I can now email out, save it for later reference, whatever. And sometimes it's really good just do a snapshot of that, so that you can look. Okay, Monday it was this. I made all these tweaks. I goofed around. 3 months later, am I better or worse? Well, you could do kind of a. I'm just going to change the date and go back and look at it. But you might have configured things differently. Your dashboard might be totally different. You might have a total different perspective of what things are. You have that PDF. It's kind of neat. You can also send it out to clients, put it in a record. If you get kicked out of this account because you're managing the account for a client, you might be able to have this dashboard saved, and you could go, okay, if that person calls me up, I know what the metrics are, I know what they're looking for. This is what it was when I last looked at the account before I got kicked out because they didn't want me logged into their Google account anymore. But if they call me up needing help, I've got some references. So PDFs are really, really neat. They do a great job through all the reporting on PDFs. I highly recommend it. Share, you can add to your dashboard, send a link for people to look at it. You can add more widgets to the dashboard. There's lots of different widgets. So basically any report you do down below, like as you dig in, you can save it, create a widget, add it to your dashboard, and then you get really neat information here, and you can do fun things like drag them around, customize the dashboard, and how I want 3-column widths, 30/70, but if I make a dashboard like this, and I can't fit anything, it doesn't work, so I can do fun things like that. Shortcuts we did, so you can make more shortcuts, intelligent events. It tries to figure things out for you and say, oh, you just got a big jump in traffic, or more of this came in. I don't look at this too much after a while, but in the beginning, if you're messing around and changing things, you can look here and see, look, there's no data because we really didn't do anything differently. Weekly events. So it's going to say, oh,
there's nothing.
Nothing happened, right? Really boring. You got to do something on your website, Eric. All right, so no intelligence found here. It's like, I feel like, what, Scotty? Or who was it? Kirchhoff? I don't know. Chekhov? Someone said, there's no intelligence in life yet. Okay. It's an old reference.
Yes.
Yes. Real-time events. This is one of my favorite things. You can sit here all day like on crack. Yep. Real-time events. But maybe not on Eric's site.
We're all here right now.
Everyone, all 115 people are here, so I'm going to start bouncing around.
We all use different devices, to be honest.
Yeah, so everyone pull out your mobile phone, go to SCV Startup. You're watching YouTube right now, go there. And, although obviously we're not in real time on YouTube, so that's not going to help. But, oh, there, look. Ah, visitors, love. Oh, I feel the love. So, and guess what? They're all in Santa Clarita. Okay, so this is really fun, and you can see how hanging out and watching this is great. Now, if you're making changes and you're trying to tweak things, you might not be getting visitors in, but sometimes you can track events here, where you can track, if I went to this page, how does it show up? Oh, good, the page was tracked. It wasn't tracking before. So it's a fun tool to come in, but remember, do it in a backup profile. You can come in and do filters and make a filter with a profile, make all these changes, go to real time and watch it and see if your changes are really working. You're probably not going to get a lot of traffic unless you're a high traffic website. Some things, especially filters by the way, don't happen in real time, and this will keep you up all night long until you go out and do a Google search and find out that Google tells you that we don't track some things like filters in real time. While you were spending all your time in a profile making filters and then clicking on your website, it's not going to happen because the filter might have taken 2 hours to come in. So sometimes what you do is you go make an advanced segmentation, which is a lot like a filter, and we'll get to that. Play with the advanced segmentation, but I don't think you can do advanced segmentation in real time. So
They are, I know there was a talk about the filters going real time.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like I mentioned, they're always changing it, and updating it, and so you'll see little things like beta. I can create a shortcut to real time from my dashboard, but it's a beta. I don't know why a shortcut needs to be a beta. Conversions and events. So right now there aren't any events, and no one's being converted on his website. So it's, where are we? Let me close these up so you can see it better. But here's these betas, and there might be things changing all the time. So read the Google blogs or the blogs about Google Analytics to see what's working, what doesn't, what they just released, content, so we can see the web pages. And you'll notice here, you guys are listening. Who's on the web mobile? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so someone's on their mobile, generating traffic, and I can see the split here. Here's the page title, so that's again, in real time I can see the title of the page, because before I just saw the URL, now I can see the title in real time to see if the title took effect, if I labeled it correctly. The other thing is page views. This here, when you get into certain views, are in 30 minutes, so this is 30 minutes. And if I go back here, it's in like 1 minute, I think it was. This is 1 minute, and that will confuse you. So if you, this is 1 minute. On content level, it's at 30 minutes. So pay attention to the labels. They sometimes change context on you depending on what you're doing. And so if you're playing around with filters and playing around with content in real time, you have to wait 30 minutes to clear out the real time until you can see the change happen. And that, I think, is the same for events too, that this become, oh, this is, 30-minute window for events. And I'll get into what events are in a bit. So we did overview, we did demographics, behavior, new versus returning. So again, what it recognizes as a new visitor versus a returning visitor. So here's where you can start doing things like, I only want to see what the new visitors are doing. Okay, new visitors, their traffic looks like this, right? And I could add different metrics, and I'm going to do, so now I've got two different metrics, and this is just kind of charting stuff. But I can say, of the new visitors, what are they doing? Well, I got 9 new visits and 3.3 page views. So this is the 9 visits, and this is the 3.3 page views, which is on this axis, right? So when I get a lot of visitors, cool. Sometimes it goes up with pages per visit, but sometimes I get a lonely visitor who sees a lot of pages. This might not be a great chart to see for this type of website, but on other websites,